Okay, the purpose of making a drawing file is to prepare a part or a document for putting on paper, printing it out, or plotting is a term is used a lot in the engineering graphics world. Plotting usually refers to like a large printout, but we're just going to print it out to what's considered ANSI A sized, and that is 8.5 by 11. Right? So we go back to our part that we made a few weeks ago. And I try to pick a really simple one. So the seal, just a couple concentric circles, right? Make sure that it's saved. And then one of the things you can do is you can either start a brand new drawing, right? Or you can make one from this part. I'm just going to hit make. Actually, I'm just going to make it easy. Just go to new, drawing. Right, so if you're going to go straight into a drawing, I can also cheat and kind of make it through there. I'm going to select the ANSI A. Right, this is in metric right here, but this is the metric equivalent of 8.5 by 11. Right, and then when you browse, right, I want to look for seal. You have to bring a part in. You can bring an assembly in too. Right, you can bring the Lego race car in. I'm just trying to keep things simple here. And what I really want to do is make sure I bring in the front view. So if you look over here, you can bring in the front, the top, the right side, and the isometric. That's what we're going to do. We're going to bring in the front, which I made my circles on the front view of my part drawing because the front view should give you the most information, and that definitely gives you better information than this rectangle does. And we're going to go ahead and it just automatically goes into what's called projected view. I'm just going to place all these parts, all these views I should say, same part. Then if you come out like at a 45, it's going to give you the isometric view. Okay? And then one of the things I want to do is I'm going to click on this front view, and I'm heading back over to this is my properties of the view. And I want to make sure that I click on hidden lines are visible. Right? So it brought in the hidden lines. Oops, on here, right? And then I'm going to go down. I'm going to scale this thing too. So right now it's 5:1. I'm going to override that, and it should be under user defined. You can even put a 4 in here if you want, or you can come in here and put a 4:1. Right? And what that does, it shrinks it down a little bit because you need to have some room to add dimensions. Now there's not going to be a whole lot of dimensions in this drawing, right? Here I just changed my isometric view to shaded with edges. All right, that's more of a pictorial, something to look at. This is what the actual people who make it want to see. So front, top, right side, because this is where our dimensions go. Right, so dimensions are under, I got them under annotation. I believe they're under sketch as well. Annotation is usually anything that has to do with putting words to it. Right, I'm going to click on smart dimension. I'm not going to do a linear dimension. I'm going to do a leader. And my leaders are going to look a little different than yours. As long as it's a leader, I'm fine. Right, so we have a 15 and a 10. And all we really need to add is a 3 millimeter. And then this thing is fully dimensioned. Right, so I have a front, top, right side. Just like we pencil sketched back in the first grading period, and we got into orthographic, right? What's cool in here is if I need to move things around, it always stays orthographically projected. Notice the top moves. If the top moves, it's always lined up. And that's why I was real critical with you guys on the graph paper that you couldn't float a drawing up here or move one over here because the tangent point of this circle hits this line. Same thing over here. The height of this line here is 15 millimeters because it's the same as the diameter. Okay? I'm going to move that up just a smidge. And if you want to move these out here, it'll adjust for it. Okay? The next thing I want to do is work into this world. So it's very important that after I do this, right, I'm going to right click. It's the right button on your mouse. I'm going to click on Edit Sheet Format. And what Edit Sheet Format does, it opens up this toolbox for editing, right? And in class we've already covered this, but this is a legal document, right? This is given some legal mumbo jumbo, right? In this case, if we want to modify this, I just go in here and I just double clicked, because this drawing is in millimeters, and you have to go all caps in a title block, right? As you can see, everything's in all caps. In tolerances, so some things are, if you're machining something, it's hard to get it perfect, so they might put in a tolerance where it can be, maybe 1/1000th of an inch too small or big, right? So we know that's going to be millimeters. This material down here, now if you float around, just moving my cursor around, see that A show up? Somebody's already put a box in there for me. So I double click here. The material is neoprene, form of rubber. Finish. I see an A in there right there. Finish could be polished, could be buffed, it could be knurled, but basically for rubber, I don't know, smooth. Right? Then we talked about the checkoff list, right? So maybe I draw it, then my supervisor checks it, and then we have a registered engineer who's got an engineering degree will approve it. So this person here is approving what maybe the drafts person has done, and the supervisor and the engineer needs to make sure that we did it right, right? So here's big money, middle money, little money, right? This guy is now on the hook. Once the engineer approves it, it goes to manufacturing, whoever's going to make it, right? Keep in mind, just because you design a part doesn't mean you're going to make that part. In most cases, in the real world, you don't make the part, right? So the manufacturing company needs to approve it. So the engineer approved it, manufacturing's approved it, and then this is quality assurance. This is where they'll go through and measure the part, right? So maybe they want to see if it can even be made to that tolerance, or maybe, hey, we need more tolerance. We can't make it exactly 15 millimeters. You're going to have to let us go, 15.1 millimeters to 14.1. So the tolerance might have to be a little bit bigger. But this is where these guys communicate. This is a legal document. So if that part that we designed comes back and it is out of spec, it didn't meet the tolerances, it's on the manufacturer, right? If the part came back and it's in spec, but it doesn't fit our assembly that we've been working on, it's on us in-house, right? So there's some big money sometimes on here. Okay, and then for seal, I think it makes more sense for that to go in the file name. I'm just going to call this, since it's a drawing, A-101, right? Because this is under drawing number. So a lot of times they'll name their files by the drawing number. Over here we want to see 4:1, right? And I want to say that the mass, when you pull the mass properties on this, I don't have it in front of me. I guess I could pull it 3.3. It makes sense for confusion purposes to go to 0.37 grams, right? And then you see that little A showing up, the title. Seal. And I think it makes sense. This is where you'd put your name. Okay. I just updated the title block. Now if I want to go back to my drawing, I go right click, edit sheet. So the toggle between the two is edit sheet format, get you in here, right click, edit sheet. I can now come back up in here and maneuver or manipulate anything in here. Okay. And then what I like to do on my Windows, do a screenshot. When you save this as a JPEG, it looks really bad if you use the SolidWorks. But if I use my snipping tool, or screenshot window, all your devices have the same method. This is where I can save it as a JPEG, right? Or a PNG will work, JPEG and PNGs. Maybe a GIF, but I would probably stick with JPEG because I know it works on my Google site. That needs to go on your Google website as part of your portfolio for you to get the grade. Okay? Hopefully this answers some questions, and if you do have questions, feel free to email me or watch the video again and or read the assignment again. A lot of the questions that I'm getting in emails are answered in the assignment, so please take a look at that and get this on your website.